I think perseverance is going to take you, and consistency is going to take you a lot farther than trying to hop on every trend that's out there. Hi there, welcome back. It's the Cypress Room podcast with Maggie
and Christina.
We're glad you're here.
Welcome to the Cypress Room, you guys. What are we on now, Maggie? Episode number
3?
This is our third one. We're almost halfway there. Did you guys know that I think it's some crazy statistic that I read the other day that most podcasts only make it to 8 episodes.
Yes.
So once we get through this one, we'll almost be halfway there.
Yes.
And we're going to go beyond.
We are going to go beyond. We're not quitting at 8. We're not quitting at 8.
We're not quitting at 8. If this is your first time joining us, we dive deep into influencing with integrity. And by trade, I'm an influencer. I'm a content creator. And Maggie works in that business as well as a boutique agency and helps people get paid for their content.
Absolutely.
And so that is part of this podcast. We love to talk about, trending things, how you can get paid for your content, how this whole social media world works, how you can do paid partnerships and everything. But we think that we have something for everybody. We're also moms. We're also wives. We're also friends.
Yes.
So we think we have something for everybody. So if you're joining us for the first time, welcome. If this is your first time here, welcome as well.
Yeah, we hope you'll stick around. So today I was thinking maybe we'd talk about some trending topics.
I like that. So we're going to just kind of bounce all over the place and just talk about what's going on, for content creators and all the things. We have a list that we're going to kind of just bounce around. And if it sparks something that we thought of that we've talked about before, we'll bring that up too. But the cool thing about being in social media and being a content creator is that it's constantly changing. I guess it's a cool thing. It's also a frustrating thing because when you get your groove and you're like, oh, I've got this all figured out. I know what I'm doing. Like algorithms change, what brands are looking for changes. So you kind of have to, read up and know, follow different trends and what other people are doing. And just kind of, you always have to have your ears and your eyes open for what's going on.
I think though, you always want to keep your pulse on what's going on in the industry that you're a part of. But at the same time, I don't think you should get too hung up on it because there's no one formula. There's no one right way to run your platform to be an influencer. But I think it is important just to know and be aware of what's going on in the industry. But chasing the algorithm or trends
is a dead end.
It's going to be really exhausting. I think perseverance is going to take you, and consistency is going to take you a lot farther than trying to hop on every trend that's out there.
Right.
So, let's get into it.
What do you want to talk about first?
Well, the first thing that I wanted to talk about, which is a super hot button issue right now, is artificial intelligence.
Oh, I have a love-hate relationship
but
with artificial intelligence.
I guess what we should probably start off with is how are we using it to help us in our business? And then I guess maybe we could talk about what you see as a potential downfall of the increase in use of artificial intelligence.
Well, and if you don't know what artificial intelligence is, let's just start there because I can just tell you that in January, I'm on a panel for a DIY conference. And in January, we had nothing slated for AI. And everybody was saying AI is coming, AI is coming.
It really did
and I was like, no, it's not. Y'all are crazy.
Fast.
No one's going to want to talk about this. And it
blew up
fast. And I feel like everybody's using it. And now we're going to have a full panel at the Haven DIY conference on it. And it came out of nowhere.
And we were probably really only have just the sliver of even knowledge to understand what it's truly capable of in the future.
I don't even think I have a definition of it, but it's basically computers helping you.
Computer generated intelligence.
And content and information. So the one that I'm using right now, it's pretty much, I've used a couple, but the one that I'm heavily using right now is, that I've used the most is called Chat GPT.
Yes. I'm using that one too.
Yeah. So how that works is that you put a little prompt, you go to the website, you can just Google Chat GPT and it'll take you there. I think it's under another name too, though. What is that? Why is that escaping me?
Open AI or something.
Yeah, Open AI. If you just Google either one of those, it'll take you there, and you have to like be signed into Google or
but
Facebook.
It is free.
It is free, but they have to make sure that you're a real person. Right. So I think you usually have to sign in through like a Gmail or a Facebook, something that's already been verified somewhere else, so they know you're not a bot.
Yeah.
Which is interesting because I think all the information that it pulls on is from bots. You guys, it's like way over my head. But anyways, so you go to that website and you can put a little prompt in there. And so the first thing that I ever did was I put in a prompt. I made a reel for a carbide scraper that helps you get, varnish and paint off of something that you're stripping. So I had just used that for the first time and I wanted to make a video on it. And I didn't know a lot about what a carbide scraper is, what it's made of, and like how you use it, how much they cost, what all the uses are for it. Because it was the first time using it. So I had the footage of me using it, but I was like, I want this to actually help people. So I put in there, like, write me a script for a 30-second reel. This is how specific I was about a carbide scraper. And it came back with a script for me, and it said, a carbide scraper can help you. It's a very hard surface and it can help you remove paint or varnish, and had all the thoughts to it. So I took that, put it in my own voice because I just cannot copy something straight that somebody else gives me. So I made it sound a little bit more like me because it sounded like very commercial, like get your carbide scraper today for $19.99. It sounded very salesy, and that's not the type of video it was. So I put it a little bit in my own voice. And put it up, and the reel did actually pretty good. So that was the first time that I used it. And moving forward, I don't use it for content creation ideas, but I know people are doing that.
Oh, wow.
But I have used it to write my descriptions, to help write descriptions for YouTube, and captions a lot for Instagram Reels, because I don't want to, because nobody even reads the caption on a reel, but I want to have it there and I want it to have good SEO if people are searching for stuff. So mostly I'm using it to write captions on Instagram.
Yes, same. I'm using it to write captions and also some copywriting. I think when I do it for my job for several different people, it helps me just spark some ideas more. Like I'll just write a couple keywords, like write me a caption for this. And then I'll kind of use some of that and form my own caption. I don't think I ever use it copy
word
and paste.
For word. I totally wouldn't do that, you guys. Like, it's so tempting to do that. And it's so tempting to go to it for every single thing. But I'm only really using it if I'm stuck, or if it's something that really doesn't matter, like a YouTube description. Like, it needs to be full of SEO, but it doesn't need to be written well. Yeah. But I still always change it a little bit. But I have a communications background, so I used to write for a living. So I think that's partly a me thing. But as much as you can put it in your own voice, because a computer is never going to know your voice, at least they don't yet. It would be interesting to put the prompt in there, write this in as pretty distressed Christina Mascari. And I have enough of a, footprint out there that maybe it would put it in my voice. It would be interesting to see if that happened.
That's kind of scary.
I know, it's scary. We should do that. We should do a little test.
So are there any I know there's other tools you're using.
There's other tools. Well, so now that we're podcasting, there are actually really great tools out there if you have podcasts, like long format videos, or like a talking head video where you're mostly just talking at the camera. And not necessarily a tutorial like I do. They have different websites. One that we've tried is munch.com, I think. And now I'm going to forget the other one.
Video AI.
Video AI.
VIDYO.
Okay.
.ai.
And we'll link all that in the description box for you guys. So what you do is you can take either your video that you can link it directly from YouTube, or if you have like the hard copy of a M4V file, you can upload it in there, and it will actually go through there and it will chop up little like 15-second, 30-second reels or TikToks, and it will even put captions over it. It goes through and it searches out what it thinks people would want to see, and it's specifically for key terms that are trending. It'll pull those out. And so we've done that on a couple of videos, and it was decent. I wouldn't say that it's like 100% there, because I still had to edit some stuff, and some of the stuff it pulled out, I'm like, this is super long. No one's ever going to watch it. Like, so I clipped something from later in the video and pieced them together. So I think it's close. It's helpful, but I don't think it's like quite there yet in terms of like, it's blowing my mind.
Well, and I think the thought is the more that people use the AI software, the better it will get. That's what what they are saying.
What they are saying. Who's they?
When I read up on it.
It just makes me feel like, have y'all seen The Terminator?
Yes.
Okay. I'm dating myself here. I'm over 40. But technology I think is awesome. So that's why I tried to not completely ignore it. But at the same time, it feels like it's soul sucking a little bit to me.
Well, do you think that, I don't think it eliminates individual creativity, but it certainly dampens it in a way, don't you think? Like,
yeah, I mean, I think there's positives and negatives to any new technology that comes out. My concern is that people are going to it and being like, give me 10 ideas for YouTube videos that are going to, pop off, that people are searching for. And then they're just taking whatever they put into, then they take that topic and say, write me a YouTube script on this topic. And then they're just straight reading whatever that gives them. I don't know if people are doing that. I think it's too early to see if people are doing that. But I just know, like, just TikTok alone, people using the same sound over and over again, like, it hurts my soul as a creative. Like, I get sick of seeing the same thing over and over again. Yeah. So that's like my only concern with AI is like, is everything going to start being the same?
The same.
And it's scrolling. It is scrolling the internet to get this information. That's where it's getting the information from. So at some point, somebody wrote something and they're regurgitating it back to you. So in my mind, it's copyright infringement because it's pulling it from other sources. And basically, I wouldn't think that it was that it would be changing the text at all, but I don't know. We don't really know how it works yet.
I don't fully understand it. There's still so much to learn.
But I don't think that you should just be like, I'm not going to use it at all because of how fast it's come on. I think if you don't start using it in certain ways to help your productivity, you are going to like slip behind. Like, it helps improve. Instead of spending 20 minutes on an Instagram reel, I can spend 5 minutes on an Instagram reel caption now.
Work smarter, not harder.
Yeah.
Right? So
I'm still trying to figure it out. Well, I'm not a huge, super big fan of it though, if I'm being honest. So yeah.
The one that scares me is the voice.
Oh,
AI.
Have you seen the scary TikToks about that?
Yes. But I was watching a video on Think Media and they were talking about it. And they said you could literally just insert a script and one sample of your voice, and then it will like narrate or do voiceover for you.
So if we weren't doing a video of our podcast, we could literally just write a script, do AI of our voices, and they would just go.
Yeah.
While we're sitting there working on something else. That's wild. Okay, that's kind of cool.
It's cool, but it's scary too. Like,
it takes the humanity out of it.
How do you know it's real anymore if that's what we go to?
The scary video we're talking about, if you haven't seen this TikTok, is they're spoofing people's voices. So whether they're getting like your kid's voice off of your Instagram or something that you posted your Facebook, and then these people will go in, put that clip in the AI, and then they can make it sound like your kid. So this lady got a phone call and it sounded like her daughter being like, Mom, help me. Like, these people have me. And they were trying to get like money from this woman. But gratefully, she figured out my daughter is home and she's upstairs. But like, what if your kid was at school and you got that phone call?
Yeah, that's pretty
scary. Terrifying and disgusting.
But that's the thing. I mean, anything can be put out there with good intentions and people can then take it and use it for not good things, right? Yeah. So I don't know. We'll keep talking about it.
Yeah, it's definitely not going away.
No, it isn't going away. I think the uses of it are only going to increase. But I'm a fan if it allows us to get more done in less time. I'm also a
fan of, they are, I haven't found like a good one yet, but there are programs for thumbnails for YouTube. And can I just tell you guys that my least favorite thing, I have the video done, I have it all edited.
And then you have to do the thumbnail.
I have the music, like I have it, and then I have to do the thumbnail. And the thumbnail is so important on YouTube, you guys, because they will show my videos. They'll show this video to, they'll push it out to our subscribers. And if they don't click on it, then YouTube is like, this probably isn't a good video. We're not going to push it out to people that aren't Christina's subscribers. So the thumbnail and the click-through rate on the thumbnail are so important. So it is just a huge stressor for me. And I'm not really good at graphics. Like I just use Canva. I don't even use Photoshop to do mine. And I'm just like, I've done like 150 videos now, you guys. And I just still have not figured out the thumbnail.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's just guess and check. And I have not nailed it. So if there is AI out there that's going to tell me this would be the perfect thumbnail for this video, I might just believe it just to take the stress.
I know. And then you don't worry about it.
Yeah.
So, well, okay. Moving on from artificial intelligence, let's talk about the trend now of an Instagram blue check for everyone.
I feel like this one's going to be negative too, and I don't want to come off as a negative Nancy.
So you may or may not know that Instagram recently rolled out a new program where anyone who has a profile on Instagram can go ahead and apply for that blue check mark and pay a fee of $15 a month. Is that correct?
Yes. In USA.
In the USA.
That's how much it is right now.
And so before people would get blue checks, it was really ambiguous, like how nobody really knew.
No, I don't think it was ambiguous. It was just hard to get one. So,
and nobody really, there wasn't one way they said, oh, here's what you do to get the blue check.
Well, there was. On the back end, you just go into your settings and you could apply to be verified, and you would have to send in like a form of identification. So it was either a driver's license or a passport. And then you had to link to outside sources that you were saying this is why I should be verified. And the whole gist of why this blue check mark started is so that people couldn't get it couldn't have like identity theft. So it was like J-Lo didn't want some random person who just stole her picture and was posting all these things pretending to be her. So that's where it came from. Like if someone might be impersonating you or like trying to get money out of people. I know tons of pastors that were trying to get verified. That's where
I've seen it benefit people the most, is
because they would have people spoof their account and then go into people's DMs and be asking for money for like orphanages.
Yeah.
So anyways, where it really came from is so that you're not being impersonated, and so someone's not saying something that you're not saying. But because most of the people that are being impersonated are like celebrities or have a really big following, it became like a status symbol, I think, to have a blue check mark.
Absolutely.
But as a regular person, I had applied several times and got denied every time. And I would link to, outside articles that I'd been interviewed in. And people do try to impersonate me. I actually don't run contests on my YouTube anymore because every time I do a giveaway on my YouTube,
the spam
is insane. And people go in there and they like steal my picture because it's very easy to steal my picture. And then they say, contact me on WhatsApp, you won, or contact me on Telegram. And I'm like, people, I'm never going to contact you on a third outside app. I always say that, like I put that in the description. People still do. And these people go in there and say, you won. Like, I just need you to pay shipping for this. And they went in there and they've stolen money from people, like $50 or $60. And the people think they're winning like tools or paint or whatever. And it's not me. So, and I tried to use that as a case too. And they're like, no, we don't care. You've been denied.
Yeah. Well, so now Instagram, and a genius move in my opinion.
Genius.
Because leading up to this point, it had become a status symbol and it became desirable. Mm-hmm. So now anyone can pay their $15 a month, but now people are paying to be on the platform.
Yeah.
And Instagram has a new income generating
is making money
channel,
which
I think $60 million they said.
It's probably something ridiculous if you think about that, because Instagram has a lot of people on it, but they just do not make a ton of money. And they had been giving creators bonuses for creating reels. They're not super great. I've had up over, 5 million views in a month, and I got like $150 for that. but it's just wild to me that they discontinued that bonus program at the same time that they rolled out this new Instagram verified. And I know a handful of people that signed up to do it. And I think I signed up to do it. I'm just going to be honest. The main reason I signed up for it is because they came in with this thing saying like, well, your account is protected if you're part of this. And I don't know if anyone has ever lost their account or got their account hacked, but I know lots of people who have, and some people have never got their account back. Like if I lost my account with 400,000 people on it and all my content, I would be devastated because there's no way to get those people back. And people just get phished. They click on the wrong thing or whatever if you don't have your 2-step verification set up. So I think the people that they couldn't get, that Instagram couldn't get with the factor of like, ooh, you have a blue check mark. They made it so desirable. So I think that's part of it. But then the second part is like, well, the only way to protect your account from being stolen is by being part of this program. So now we're all paying them just to be on the platform.
So here's my question with that huge influx of, influencers now who have the blue check mark. Do we know if they even have the infrastructure to actually offer the support and protection for that many people?
I would hope they do if they made like 60 million. And that's just one time. You have to think like that's every month. Right. So it will be really interesting a year from now when they have to say like what their income was to see what it is. And if they actually break out how many people, did that. And I think the really interesting thing about it is that they launched it in Australia and New Zealand first before they launched it anywhere else. And when they rolled it out, they said, oh, you're going to have more reach. Like that's going to be part of it. And then when
they would promote your content.
They would push your content to more people if you were part of this program. And then when they brought it over to the US, they took that portion out. But we're not really that vocal about it. They did say it, but they weren't like super vocal about it. And still to this day, because on my Instagram, I have some people that follow me that I share like kind of all the behind the scenes stuff of like, hey, I'm working on this partnership, whatever. They just want to know the ins and outs. And we have a little community there. And I let them know like that I had joined it and was asking for their thoughts and everything. And, so it's just interesting. Like a bunch of people joined, but a bunch of people didn't. They're like, I'm not going to give my money to them. So I don't know.
I know some bigger influencers. I mean, in the hundreds of thousands.
Yeah.
Like this. Well, I don't know if I should say the names, but that are standing firm and not doing it and never, and have had large followings for a long period of time and didn't get it. Before. So
and again,
bold move, maybe.
Bold move, but I'm not mad. Like, I'm not mad at Instagram. Yeah. Like, I don't feel like they owe me anything. Would it stink if I lost my account one day? 100%. But at the end of the day, I don't own it. It's not mine. And they have to make money.
I know. I just do not think it would be a smarter move to figure out how to generate income more along the lines of a YouTube in terms of like ads and stuff.
Yeah, I just don't think, I think that they've tried to do that before. And the problem is that no one, I think they might test that more, but people are not going to watch ads during short form content. And even if they do, then you have to split that among the 10 creators that person just watched before they got to an ad. And that logistically seems like a nightmare to me. Yeah. With YouTube, like my YouTube videos, the average watch time of my video is around 7 or 8 minutes. So YouTube knows, oh, I can get 2 ads in her video and people are watching that. And when you watch long form content, you're programmed to see commercials. At least someone my age is. The younger generation probably isn't. But again, like if you don't want to pay for YouTube, you're going to watch the commercials and it's just kind of, everybody knows that.
Right.
And you can skip over them after 5 seconds most of the time. So people are just conditioned over there that when they're taking in that long form content that they're going to have to watch a commercial. Right. And I just don't think it translates to the
swiping. Yeah. The attention span is different on Instagram. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, let's move on to something else. Our friends over at Think Media have been talking a lot about subscriber counts on YouTube and having the debate of whether a subscriber count is irrelevant now. What do you think?
I mean, in terms of getting brand deals and working with brands, I think it has become a lot more irrelevant. Back in the day, I mean, you've been working with me and doing brand deals for like 3 years now. That was really important. And I think we set our rates based on my subscriber count. And I think more now you have to set your rates based on viewership and demographics within your viewership. But again, like my average views on my YouTube right now are probably like 15 to 20,000 is probably what I could guarantee someone for each video. But then we have videos that spike up that get over 100. You just never know. So I think I can still use that 450,000 subscribers to be like, well, YouTube's going to push this to this many people, but I can't guarantee you that they're going to click on it. So it at least shows that this many people liked me enough that they clicked a button, which I think is something. It's not nothing, because for people to take that extra step to like a video or comment or subscribe to your channel, like to get people to take that step is huge, because people don't want to do anything.
Right.
So, but I don't think it's as important as it used to be. And in the day and age of these short form content, we've seen those numbers, I think, are super inflated.
I agree. I think even though many people are arguing that it's irrelevant, I still think that there's a certain level of credibility when you have a higher subscriber count on YouTube, for brands at least.
Yeah. Well, and I know it's specifically true on Instagram, because when we send people a DM through my account, they can have it stacked so it's like prioritized. And what Instagram always prioritizes for me with people in my request box is their following. So if someone messages me and they have like 400,000 followers, they pop up at the top of my list for requests. If you have it slated that way, which I would assume that most brands have it slated that way, that they would, unfortunately, people see value in that and they want to interact with people that have a big following.
Yeah, so even if people are saying it doesn't matter, it still does a little bit. Maybe it just not a little bit, same
but
way.
I don't think that we used to set our rates based on that. I had 450,000 subscribers on YouTube, and I think that we based it more on that than my average views. And now I think they're smarter, which they should be.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, you average 20,000 views, so we're only going to pay you this for this, which makes sense to me.
Because they're looking at that cost per view metric a lot of times when they're making that investment to partner with a creator.
Yeah. So it honestly has I feel like my subscriber count in terms of brand partnerships is hurting me now more than it's helping, because it hurts in the fact that I can't experiment with different content, because when I put different types of content out, like if my subscribers don't click on it, YouTube won't send it to other people. They really look at what my subscribers are doing and how they're interacting before they decide if they're going to send it out to more public people. Again, that's kind of speculation, because nobody really knows how these algorithms work.
Right.
But I mean, that just opens up like a bigger conversation that like your value and your worth as a content creator can't be wrapped around how many followers you have, and it can't even be wrapped around how many views you're getting on your content.
I think it also should make us smarter as business people, though, so if we are getting paid on views, on average views, and you have a video go viral, there should be a clause in our contracts for that. If you're only getting paid for an average view,
that is a really good point,
of 20,000 views, but then you have one that goes viral and gets 250,000 within a short time frame. I'm not talking like over, because you have ones that are in the millions, but that came over years.
Yeah.
But if you have one video and you partner with somebody and you get a certain rate at that one view and it gets 5 times that, there should be a clause in a contract that you should get paid on that, I think.
Well, we haven't done that yet. Should we try to experiment and do that on our next contract? Should. Maybe we've cracked a code here, you guys.
I heard that idea at Haven last year.
Did
actually, one of the creators that was there in a pricing class I went to mentioned that that's how she is structuring her contracts now, because you really don't know when something's going to hit at that right moment and go viral. And if it is a partnership video and this brand is benefiting because of that, then there should be, I think, a clause for compensation.
That's interesting. I wonder if they would go for that, because I know how, like, we both worked in the corporate world, so we know how budgets go, and like, you have the budget that you have, and you can't pull from someone else's budget. And
I know, but she said it had worked for her, so I think it's something to try, see about, especially if you already have an established relationship with a customer, though.
Because I think what we've done in the past, because I do have some partners that let me do affiliate program and as well as compensate me for my content. And that was pretty typical of one of my first partners that I worked with. So I thought that was just normal. It is not normal that's for them to give you both. But I think that when we started with new partners, I'm like, well, and I want affiliate sales. And they're like, well, we're not going to do both. And I said, well, this is what protects me if I have something go viral. Yeah. Like, for instance, I have a viral video on YouTube that I'm still earning a ton of affiliate sales off of that product, because that video has like almost 3 million views. And that was a brand partnership, so I got paid up front for it. But because that video performed so well, I'm still making affiliate money on it. So that's something that we've done in the past, but we've definitely never put a clause in there of like, if this goes viral, I want a bonus.
Yeah.
That feels scary.
Because it's just rare that they do affiliate sale, like commissions and an upfront amount anymore. So yeah, I don't know. We'll have to do some negotiating and see.
Trial and error, and then we'll get to share it with you guys. And you guys can step on our shoulders for when you're doing your next contract negotiation.
Just some food for thought there.
Yeah. I get tripped up too, because I've had content perform super, super well with a partner, and then we do a long-term thing. And then I've had some like that don't do well, like maybe get 15,000 views. I'm like, oh, are they going to work with me again? But I think sometimes it balances out when you have a viral one, and then you just have like normal performing content, and they're like, well, we're willing to do long-term stuff with you because we've seen it be really successful and viral in the past, but you can't ever guarantee it. So
but I think that's why we're trending more towards
those long-term
partnerships, because you can't guarantee when something's going to do really well, and sometimes it's not. And we've seen over the course of your long-term partnerships that it really does even out in the end. We're able to provide them a summary, and the return on their investment is always positive. When they do long-term, it's better than doing summaries for one-offs, because it really is kind of a gamble.
Well, and that's like, I think a perfect segue into like another thing that we had on our hot topics list here was being a brand ambassador versus doing like these one-time campaign deals. And I think that even having a viral thing, say you do a one-time campaign with a product and it goes viral and it gets 5 million views. I don't think that's worth as much as a video that gets 20,000 views, but I've been working with that product for a long time. You've seen it on multiple videos. You know that I love it. You know that I have it in my home. Like, you're probably going to buy off of that 20,000 view video, but you probably wouldn't buy off of that 5 million. Out of those 5 million, how many people actually bought it? Because they don't know who I am. It's their first time seeing me. So I wonder, like, what is the true value there? Do
those views translate to brand loyalty, to sales, to...
Because at the end of the day, what does the brand want? Most of the time, it's a sale. I mean, I do think that there's they want awareness, and they want, to have good feelings about their brand. But at the end of the day...
They want it to translate to
sales. It has to translate to a sale, or it doesn't. Nothing happens for them. Well, they don't make any money.
Yeah,
so
I think that's a discussion a lot of people are having is, would you rather have one viral video or 20 videos with 50,000 views or 20,000 or whatever?
Yeah.
And I think I'd rather have the consistent performance rather than, because also what that does, if you have a brand partnership where it goes viral and it's a one-off, then you're really at a loss to renew that, because that's going to be their expectation
every time
for the next time, right? Like, so that's a hard thing to do again, I think. So, yeah, I don't know. I can see the benefit of doing something more long-term.
Well, and we touched on this in the last podcast, but it's just more fun to work with a brand that you know and that you have a relationship with their marketing team and with their content creation team. It's more fun. It's more fulfilling. I think it's easier to have back and forth of like, because I've had, brand partners that I've worked with for a long time, and they're like, we really want to, showcase outdoor, like people are really, it's spring, people are doing outdoor projects, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I understand, but outdoor doesn't really perform well on my channel. I've done it several times. And they just try to get like sometimes too creative, or like try to make it really fit like a campaign they have going on. And I recently have just got more brave being like, you know what? People just want to see me flip furniture. Yeah. And they're like, okay, well, can we pull this trend in or whatever? Like, can we pull a trending color? And I'm like, absolutely. And those, I think they trust me well enough to know, like, I know what's going to perform on my channel. And so we have more, I think, give and take than just like them giving me something, please film something like this, and then it just not go well. When you have that long-term relationship, I think it's easier to have those types of conversations.
Well, what I've also noticed is it tends to be easier to get the long-term deals when we're dealing directly with the brand, not going through an agency. I think those are when it's tricky, because when a brand uses an agency, you don't even get a lot of feedback. Like, I just think of the recent one we did this year, and it was super organic and made sense on your channel, and it was a one-off thing, and it just kind of went out into the abyss. And we don't know if they were happy or not, even though we tried to solicit. But since they're working through a middleman, it's really, there's a lot that gets lost in the communication and relationship building.
Well, and I think when you're working with a middleman like that, it's based off of a huge campaign, and it's based off of a campaign that they had a lot of dollars behind, and they're probably looking at the overall, like, how did this overall perform instead of going to individual creators? Because they probably did like, I'm going to guess like at least 50. I have no idea though. I'm making it up.
Yeah. I don't know.
Because it's been a long time since I've been in corporate marketing, and this is how long ago it was that I worked on the corporate side. I made my company's Facebook page, and it was for a realtor company. And I taught other realtors how to make their own Facebook page to get more clients.
Do you know how long it's been since I've been in the corporate world? iPhones were just coming out.
Ooh. Did you have a BlackBerry?
I had a BlackBerry.
I never had a BlackBerry. I didn't have to ever be chained to a device that way. I had a laptop.
I had made it.
Oh, I bet you did. I never had one. I mean, kudos to you. You were definitely doing better than me, because I never had that and never had that BlackBerry.
Oh my gosh, we're so old. Showing our age.
I also started my company's Twitter page, and that's the only time that I was ever on Twitter. I'm still not on Twitter. I just don't spend any time there.
Yeah.
I don't do it. I still follow the trends of what's going on there. And, that's Twitter is actually where this whole paid verification came from.
Yes.
That's where that idea came from. So anyways.
Well, what's next on our list of trending topics?
You had user-generated content on here, which you probably know more about than I do, because I haven't really done a lot of user-generated just because I don't have to.
Yeah. No. Okay. So user-generated content is a big trend I'm seeing this year as I'm talking to brands, as I'm looking at campaigns that they're searching for content creators for. And what that is that they hire a creator to create a specific form of content for them. Usually short form video is what I've seen so far. And the creator wouldn't post that on their own channels. It's essentially you're creating a commercial just for their use in their marketing and their socials. And this is kind of a fun new trend because it really gives smaller up and coming creators who have great video content, who are super natural on camera, who are doing something new and fun and exciting to partner with brands. And really, I think it's a great place to grow. But yeah, that is kind of what I'm seeing a lot of, that they just want to outsource the creation of commercials and social content. And so, yeah, that's how they're hiring creators.
Do you think creators would, if they enter into a thing like that, do you think that they would just, some of them would just put it up on their socials if it made sense?
Yes.
Just to show like, oh, I worked with this great brand?
Yes. Something that, one thing I've negotiated into contracts for people that I've worked with and user-generated content is to always be tagged and to link back. But also we've gone back and asked for permission to post on their pages. Okay. And they have, some brands will give you permission to do that, and some won't. But it's sort of brand specific, I guess.
So interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, I get it because I know how much goes into a video shoot. Because like I said, even though it was in the dinosaur ages, I did work on the other side, and I did a couple of shoots and just like hiring the talent and the lighting and just the talent and the camera crew were so expensive. Right. And then I had to cater for them, and I had to write the script and all the things. And I did script supervision and stuff. So there's like lots of pieces that go to it from the corporate side, and it takes up a lot of time too. So I could see why they would be like outsourcing that.
Well, and it makes sense if they're hiring creators who are already using their products. So they're already
so they already know how to use it. So they're not teaching a model how to do it.
They already know the ins and outs. Yeah. They've troubleshooted. They are familiar with how to use it, and can also come to the table with new ideas. I think they're outsourcing ideas and creativity too with that. But I think it only really makes sense if you are a smaller influencer, because a lot of these brands, if you go on their socials, like for instance, for you, I go to the brand and they have a way smaller following. Yeah. So it's not as beneficial to maybe a creator with a larger subscriber count than it would be for somebody with a smaller one.
Yeah. But I could definitely see myself doing it one day if I'm not creating, if there comes to a point where I'm not creating my own content anymore.
For sure.
I could be like, here, I have a whole portfolio of like, here's all this stuff I've created. Would you like to hire me to do, make some user generated content for you? So that's cool.
It is cool. I think it's a fun new trend.
Have you found most of those through partnerships that you already had, like that brand relationships that you already had? Or are you finding those like on, those platforms like Isaiah and Aspire?
It's been a combination, actually.
Okay.
One that I've worked on was from a platform, and the other one was from a previous relationship. We'd had several successful partnerships, and actually they had asked you before. And
I said no?
You said no. And then it came up again. And they really loved one of the girls that I was working with, and it worked out. So we're actually in negotiations currently for that one.
That's awesome. And that is something that I did get asked to do. It wasn't called user-generated content back then, but when I was on YouTube and I wasn't full-time yet, I had people offering for me to make videos for their YouTube, which I think I probably did a couple back then because it was money and I wasn't making any money. So I was like, yeah, sure. And then I remember like I hadn't made a video for them in a while. And I said, I'm trying to make my YouTube work. So I can't be making content for you because it's making my content fall behind. And my goal is to work on my channel. If you would like to put them on my channel first, then we could renegotiate it. And I think we renegotiated at that time. Yeah. And I've had people ask me to do like tutorials and stuff that they wanted to put up on their website. And I've just never had the time. And I was making enough money on my content to not have to do somebody else's, but that's a great way to grow and to hone your skills. So I love that people are still getting paid. I like that it's a bigger trend than it used to be.
Yeah. And even thinking outside, I mean, I think the furniture flipping and DIY industry is maybe a little bit of a tougher industry to do that in, just because your projects take so much time.
Yeah.
But if you're in another industry where you're not doing these super involved projects, it could be a great supplemental income while you're getting things ramped up, because it wouldn't take so much time if you're like doing reviews or makeup or, just something
or
that
just like using, I mean, I've done some where we've used products that are not really specific to us, that's specific to DIY, that's more like home care, but they gave me a deal based on, what the content they had seen me create on TikTok and stuff. So you can branch out of your niche. Like I've done mops. Yes. And I've done like photo books and stuff like that.
Yep.
And because I can create can create content around anything now pretty much, just because I've done it so much.
Yeah.
So you can, and like that would be an instance where like, well, this doesn't make sense on your content, but we want to boost it and we want to put dollars behind it. And so it makes sense. Like it can translate across.
And it's another reason I
genres.
think creators, like as you're showing up in stories every day, be tagging the brands you're using. If you're going to Starbucks and getting a coffee, if you're going to Dunkin', tag them. Like if you're sitting there talking
Yeti and Stanley, you keep our drinks very cold.
I mean, tag the brands you're using as you're showing up in your stories, because that shows them how you can integrate their brand into your content in an organic, natural way. And then that makes it easier to branch outside of maybe the niche that your long form videos are in.
So there's tons of opportunities, basically.
There is. It's really just kind of thinking outside the box, a little bit.
I'm the only other thing that I have on my list, which I don't know if I feel like, do we have enough time to talk about this? We can start talking about this. Could be a whole nother episode. So if we don't hit everything today, we can share about this later, but short form content versus long form content. And I'm going to let you talk first, because I think everybody knows how I feel, but maybe they don't.
Oh gosh. Like which one is better, or are we just comparing?
Just in the battle of like short form content versus long form content is in business building, and what's going to be the better investment for you. I mean, I think you can go either way, but you know which one I'm going to argue for. So maybe you should argue for short form content.
I think if you want to be a full-time creator in this day and age, you're going to have to at least consider long-form content to have something that's sustainable, because I think YouTube is really only the only video platform that's paying consistently right now
for the actual content.
We're
talking about like content. No partnerships, no affiliate sales.
Right. I mean, the thing about is if you solely do TikTok and Instagram and short form content, you're going to have to be on the hustle train.
Yeah. And you can make a lot of money. I'm not going to lie to you. You can make a ton of money.
But you're not making anything passively.
Yeah.
And I think passive income streams are crucial for sustainability in this industry, because you get burnt out doing brand deals. I mean, pretty quick. And the amount that you need to do to grow to get a good size income is a lot. It is a lot.
Yeah. So, and I have creator friends that they're not even full time. They're doing it on the side, which kudos to them for being able to do that. But I know they've had months where they've made $50,000 on brand deals. And I'm like, y'all go, because I've never made that much on brand deals alone in 1 month. But then the next 2 months they made $0. So, and it's just brand deals are not reliable. And as speaking as someone who has I have a big following on the big three, and we haven't made a lot of brand deals this year, you guys. We haven't had a lot of those one-offs like we were talking about.
Yeah.
And it's not that the times that I've done those before, they haven't performed well, because most of them have performed well. It's just, I don't know. It's just not having that relationship and that consistency and like a goal of like, how do we want to grow and this and that, and having that back and forth is just a one-off. Stats are good, whatever, move on. Yeah. We're probably going to go hit up another person and hit up their audience. It's like, there's no they don't see any value like in my community. And I think there's so much value in my community. So I guess that's why we've kind of transitioned more to those long-term brand ambassador type partnerships.
Right. The thing though, that I would say for your industry and people who are only doing short form is it's painful for me to see all the work that goes in to the projects.
Because our
and
projects
then they're
are so
only doing short form content. It just seems like a small return on the investment of time required when you could just film the whole process and repurpose that video into long form and short form and then do both.
Yes. It is harder to edit a long form video.
Yes.
So I understand. There are ways to do it, I think, that are going to make it easier for you, like doing voiceovers, just kind of filming yourself and then doing a narration after it's over. But it is a lot harder to figure out how to upload the YouTube video and do the tags. And if you don't show up consistently on YouTube, if you're not posting once a week for a good season, it's very hard to grow on there. So I understand because it does take a lot of time. I've been there. And it took me a long time to even start doing it full time. I did a video and then I didn't make a video for 6 months because I was just doing it for fun, as a hobby.
Right.
But just then committing to doing it consistently. And when she talks about passive income, I have videos that I made 2 years ago that are still my most successful video on YouTube. YouTube is still pushing it. It still has good SEO. It's a video that has an affiliate code attached to it. So I'm still making money off the affiliate link on it. But if you don't put that effort in and make those videos, you can never have one that hits like that.
Right.
And I have a video, I have a reel that I just put up last week. It has 1.6 million views. A lot of people have seen that. It was a brand partnership. So I'm very excited that it's doing that well, because that's going to help me in my negotiation next year, having a successful piece of content. But Instagram has given me $0 for that 1.6 million views. And if I had 1.6 million views on YouTube, I would have about like $10,000, I think, which it's harder to get the 1.6 million views on YouTube. But that video, that same piece of content, I think that video probably has, I'm guessing off the top of my head, it probably has like 20,000 views. And so I think I've earned like $200 or $250, which is a lot better than $0 that I've earned from Instagram.
For real.
But again, you have the ability for a video to take off and have a hero video. And my hero videos have I've earned $30,000 off of one piece of content that I spent 1 week on. Right. And you're never going to get that from Instagram. You might get a $10,000 deal. You might get a $30,000 deal. You might get a $100,000 deal from Instagram. But I could also get a $100,000 deal maybe and have that $30,000 video. So the double dipping is huge to me. And you're creating with YouTube, you're creating community. They know that people on YouTube know who I am. Yeah. They know I'm silly. They know I'm going to mess up. They know I'm not going to give up and I'm going to push through the end. They know I'm going to make some really ugly stuff. They know I'm going to make some really cute stuff. I'm going to blow their mind sometimes. And sometimes they're going to be like, Christina, that was really boring. It's real. It's authentic.
Yeah. I think it's a great place to build community. Yeah. People get more invested in the community in YouTube just because they're watching you for longer periods of time. Yeah. I just think there's so many benefits to long form content. It is worth the investment of time. Because, even if you think of the fact that when you want to take a break, you take a break and you're still making money in the background.
I am. And in the past 2 years, I've taken off, December and January, both years. And I came back and my channel didn't die. Yeah. And this year, because we've been wanting to do this podcast and trying to find time for it, I have slowed down a little bit. I have slowed down significantly this year. I'm just going to be honest, and probably have put out 2 to 3 videos a month versus 5 videos a month. And my channel's still alive. It's not as thriving as it once was, but I think things are cyclical. And people have seen me paint for 3 years and maybe they're ready to see me do something else. So I keep trying new things.
They're ready to see you podcast.
Maybe, because I will tell you guys, I had a video. They're really craving authenticity. That's the hugest trending thing I've seen this year, because I recently put out a video that was 20 minutes long where I just talked to the camera like this. And I told the whole story of my brand and how it developed from me just painting in my garage and painting things in my home to like that I don't even sell my furniture anymore because I'm making a full-time salary on content creation and what that looks like. I thought everybody knew that, but they don't.
No,
they didn't know that. And so now I'm sharing that and they're like, wow, this is a really encouraging story. Thanks for sharing that. And now I have the freedom of I don't have to sell my furniture anymore. I'm donating it to a thrift store that supports low-income families in my community. And that feels like really good. And I thought nobody was going to want to watch that video or hear me talk for 23 minutes just about my story and where I am authentically, vulnerably at right in this moment. And it's performing 6 times better than any video I've ever put out. It's like my fastest growing video ever. I don't think it'll get to 1 million, you guys, because I don't think 1 million people want to hear that.
but maybe they do.
Of those 450,000 subscribers that maybe hadn't watched a video in 6 months, when it said, I'm done selling furniture, they clicked on it. The wildest thing about that video is not how fast it took off, or how many people have watched it, but I haven't got one negative comment. I say that now. I should go check again.
But maybe there is now.
As of yesterday, not one negative comment, and I get negative comments on every single video about
haters
how
gonna
dare
hate.
you paint wood, you belong in jail, and all these crazy things. And there wasn't one negative comment, and everybody was just so. I just loved hearing your story, and it encouraged people who are flipping furniture. It encouraged people who were thinking about starting a YouTube channel. It encouraged people who were just stay-at-home moms looking for a new outlet or whatever. It just encouraged people, and it was just my authentic story. I was completely vulnerable. Yeah. And so I hope that trend continues because I can be myself. That sounds easy.
I know. That could be a great subject for a future podcast is what real authenticity and vulnerability looks like. And because I don't think it's...
Showing up and crying every day and complaining and airing all your problems is not vulnerability and authenticity, just so you know. But we'll save that for another.
Yeah. Well,
but I do cry a lot on my stories. Yeah. But that is authentic because I'm a crier.
She is. I'm not.
Well, this one was fun.
It was.
I feel like we bounced around a lot, but I feel like it was fun.
Yeah, you all will have to let us know if we missed anything. What trending topics do you want to talk about? Show us in the comments.
Yeah, and we'll be back again.
Yes, we will. Join us next time.
Thanks for being here in the Cypress Room, and we will see you guys next time.
See you next time.